Okay, so welcome everyone. Really happy to have you here today with Philip Walker, who's the CEO of Network Solutions Provider. He's responsible for all the company's sales and marketing and business development at his company, and he was named to his position in December of 2009. Mr. Walker is also an Enterprise alum from 2016, like many of you on this call. He takes an active role in corporate social responsibility initiatives worldwide. In addition, he's been widely recognized for his and his company's philanthropic leadership in creating a top corporate social responsibility program, creating and launching several green tech and job growth programs. And he also started Network Solutions Provider in 2007 as the VP of Sales and Marketing, and he assumed the role of President and CEO in 2009. Prior to that, he spent 15 years working in the telecommunications and information technology industry. So not only able to answer your questions today as an IT and telecommunications expert, but as a small business owner himself. So Phil, I turn it over to you.
Thank you so much for that intro, Laura. I'd like to welcome everybody to the session. You know, definitely during times like this, it's great to get together and at least hear some information. But, you know, understanding that we are all in a different time and that it does mean that we need to be strong and work on keeping our family and friends strong because that is very key at this time. And as small business owners, that's one of the things that's the cornerstone of what we do and how we've done in the past in terms of being successful. But do not take my picture personally. That is definitely not social distancing in any regard, but it's a reminder of working together looks and feels like when this is over. You know, one of the things that I talk about consistently with business owners, tech people of the industry is that, you know, we've been here before, especially as small business owners, maybe not to this degree. In the United States alone, there are over 28 million small business owners, you know, from coffee shops to accountants, small businesses that we make up about 8.5 trillion of all the business revenues nationwide, working day to day in and out of our businesses, often with not a lot of recognition that, you know, that we deserve, you know, or a pat on the back for the jobs that we do. During this time, we have to figure out a way of moving forward together, you know, so reshaping our business, figuring out how to be more agile and implementing change. You know, one of the biggest things about being in business is the change and the ability to change, whether it's resistant, whether it's time consuming, or whether it's important. But at this point in time, as small business owners, you know, the one thing that's going to help us get through this pandemic and the issues that are coming after the pandemic as we try to, you know, create the new normal is to be able to go forward together and work together. One of the things that I bring up to people is that you'll never have a better chance than right now to look at your business differently. That you should be thinking about making the change that you've always talked about and implemented. What would it look like if you started over? Not only is the only question, it's an excellent stop-start questioning exercise that I've given to people to kind of look at what have been done. Because we know our history, we know what's made us successful, we know what's gotten us to this point. But what about the unknown? What is the next steps? How do we prepare for the next steps? By asking these questions to yourself and with your team, it's going to give you the ability to take a step back and look at your business differently. How are you going to deliver differently? How are you going to handle customers differently? How are you going to acquire new customers differently? How can you add value to your current customer base? There's no better time than right now while this is happening to start to use those questions to fuel new conversations and what is going on in the space. Because now is the time to think about what you would do differently if you had the chance. Understanding that today is a difficult time, but going forward and getting to the point to where so you can see things in a new light. The reason why I bring this up is because at some point business is going to resume. And in the new world, it's not going to be the big fish that eats the small fish. It's going to be the fast fish that eats the slow fish. I've always loved this quote for various of reasons. And the reason why I've loved this quote because it's never so more true for small businesses. We have the ability, because of our size, to change faster and adapt things that most companies wouldn't consider or have the time to consider at this time because of the issues that they are currently facing as well. Using that in a way to figure out growth and getting us to the point to where we can take over and control our destiny a little bit more. With that said, there are a few things that you have to do that we've done recently that are going to help you as a small business either grow or build a runway for resistance or resilience for the next 7 to 8 months of the unknown. Cost optimization. Start to negotiate down current contracts, evaluate new vendors, figure out new ways of getting supplies, think about everything that, in terms of what your business runs on and supports on, and get to the point where you can lower your cost, negotiate deals, and push out, the added expense of things that you currently are doing. You're going to have financial discipline. That means that you have to be smarter in your investments. That you're going to have to, get more value out of your dollar. You're going to have to add, because you're going to have to do more for your customers to retain your customer base. That means that you're going to have to do more as well. You're going to have to keep your people happy. You're going to have to keep your people safe. The third thing that you're going to do is focus on the customer. Figure out that one key element that's going to give you the ability to figure out what they need or anticipate their needs before they come back. One of the things in terms of buying patterns are going to change is what they used to do before is going to change. This is the perfect time to get in front of them and say why you should be that person that they should be doing business going forward. If you're a restaurant, I go to 30 different restaurants in the past and food hop the way that I did before. I may need to find a restaurant that I feel safe and, is going to deliver a good experience still during this time. So you have to figure out new ways of engagement that focus on the customer's needs, the customer safeties, and the customer's desires on what they're going to need next. By doing that, that's going to give you a good shot out of the block faster than anybody once the pandemic goes into effect. The other thing is something that a lot of businesses don't do, is partner to reduce cost. Find someone in your arena that does what you do and figure out a way of sharing costs. Volumes, pricing to vendors. If you don't have to spend to get to a certain amount to get a certain discount, find some people who are going to buy the same things. Get in, together with those people and then spend money that way. You're going to have to be creative in the ways that you do things and working with vendors in order to add more value. And you're going to have to stop buying technology, which is kind of ironic coming from the technology guy who sells technology on an ongoing basis. I get so much pushback when I tell people that, and it says, well, what do you mean stop buying technology? I said, well, the reality of it is that the CapEx versus OpEx opportunity for businesses today needs to change. That for your relationship with technology has to change. So you have to move from technology as a cost center, meaning that stuff that you have to spend money on, to technology as a profit or a customer experience center that's going to give you more value that you can add to your By stop buying technology and overwhelming your people, you're going to be able to empower your workforce. Now, this is my plea to help you guys stop buying tech, to start buying service outcomes. Typically, the buying cycle for small businesses is that we buy retail. We go to retail stores, we pay retail prices. There is no standardization, and if there is a standardization, we typically hold on to old tech. We do that to maximize our value on the money that we spent. This computer's got to last because I can't buy a computer year over year, and I can't do the upgrades, and I can't maintain the equipment, and I'm not depreciating it fast enough to get my money back. We have to stop that practice. That's not a good business practice, going forward from a cost center standpoint, from an employee standpoint, and just generally being able to be productive to your clients. Most of us have been forced to invest in technology that is not your core business. Servers, storage, hardware, software, mobile devices, networks, Wi-Fi. There's always something that's going on with the technology that your company depends on that works. That's not your core business. You don't want to be in the technology business. You don't want to have to house and keep things on, around, having spare laptops sitting around just in case one breaks, having someone run over to the nearest retail store to buy a computer because something has happened. So there's all these things that we've done or do that we spend money on that has just gone to waste. And that is just not an efficient practice that I've seen in a lot of businesses that I've coached many of my clients, and even clients who just come to us to have conversations, is that you've got to get to the point where you're focusing on the outcome, what do I want, and versus, the pieces that need to get there. Once you get to the point where you're buying outcomes and you're buying solutions versus products, your business is going to get more agile, right? Because you're going to be not locked into long-term investments on legacy systems and obsolete devices. Now, I say this in all fairness. If you still have a desktop phone on your desk in your office, it needs to go. Coming from the technology guy, your iPad can replace that phone. Your cell phone can replace that phone. There are many solutions out there that will allow your business telephone to now operate from your laptop, from your tablet, from your from your cell phone, that you no longer need a desktop phone. Same thing if you still have a fax machine. A lot of these obsolete devices are slowing you down in what you do, and you've spent money on. Whether it's the next 2 years you bought the new desk phone, or the next 4 years, and buying headsets for the phones and things of that. Those are the practices that we have to get out of and move past to give yourself an opportunity or a chance to streamline your costs and add more value. Tools that you guys can use today that is going to be more prevalent than it was tomorrow. The new virtual office is going to be the same. The new virtual office is going to be mobile, it's going to be collaboratory, it's going to be open, and it's going to move. So whether it's your desktop, your iPad, your tablet, your computer, or your cell phone, those are the technologies going forward that are going to empower your business. So instead of buying that technology, use the CapEx, OpEx programs that most vendors do provide. Mobility as a service. I know when in the past that leasing equipment was very difficult, that the idea of owning the equipment, but the reality is that you don't want to be in the server business, so you don't need to purchase a computer, use it for 2 years and upgrade it. It's at a lower cost. You're always going to get the latest and greatest tools, and you're going to be able to keep up with the times. I've done many meetings with people, and they've pulled out their cell phone, and they said, well, this worked just as well as the last one, the logic and thinking. But the truth is, it doesn't. It's slower. It doesn't run the enterprise apps. It doesn't have features. It doesn't have all the great things. It's noticing that, hey, why am I choosing to run my business lower than everybody else is, and be open to different issues. One of the things that Apple and Google has done or are doing here in the next few months is giving what Apple is called open enrollment and what Google is calling for Android 10 is the ability to have separate workspaces on your cell phones and your tablet that is separate from your personal. So the ability to keep your work data secure, but still being able to have the tool or toy that you have in your cell phone that you play your games on and stuff. And that's kind of the issue, that when I hand someone my cell phone and they're playing, you know, Candy Crush, that my business email, financial information, and everything else from my business is on that phone and easily accessible. Having these different solutions on, you know, that will give you a more secure environment, help with privacy security, minimize the amount of times that you can be hacked or your personal information leaked. But these things from Google and Apple are happening to help people migrate the new security landscape that is happening today by keeping your devices, your mobile devices, very secure. I can't stress as much as I can to upgrade to Office 365. If you're running on the old Microsoft stuff, this is now time to bring all of that stuff together. Because no matter what device you're on now, whether it's your device, a hotel device, a temporary device, you will have access to all your email, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint documents like you've never had before. Before the days of, hey, well, that file is saved on my computer, or that file is saved over here, changes away. Version control. How many of us have, you know, 9 versions of the same document on our computer? And we don't know which one's the last one that we worked on. This takes away a lot of that headache and issue, allows you to work, share documents, get updates from documents in a way that, you know, you've never been able to done before. Hop on a phone call, work from the same document and make changes. It's going to make your employees work a lot faster. It's going to help you run, you know, your business a lot better. And it's one of those upgrades that's just not a high cost. Now, from a security standpoint, I say this. There are 3 layers that you need to have in order to make the cloud, if you will, work. You need to have some sort of antivirus on your computer or endpoint protection. You need to have some sort of mobility protection on your device. And you need to have firewall or some type of email security. That 4-layer stack will give you very good high-end protection. Now, there are other threat things that you can do that are a little bit more expensive, but as long as you have those 4 basics, you're doing what we consider, you know, the strong standard in terms of being able to control your information and manage the cloud. Because one of the things that SMB clients have that issue is being in the cloud. Is the cloud safe? Well, yes, it is. But the risk of keeping everything stored on your computer is if you don't have access to your location, then you don't have access to your work. For people who have QuickBooks, you know, on the on-prem version and have to VPN to a computer to get access to this, there's better ways of accessing that information. If your laptop, you know, water was spilled on top of it, you know, you would lose a lot of your data. And the amount of money that you would pay to recover that data is way more cost in terms of just having Office 365 in terms of being safe. That you have to get out of the idea that the computer is the technology. It is just a tool to access information, and you should be able to access your information from any terminal that you work from. How to use technology to improve customer service. For people who have interactions, restaurants, hotels, where you have people coming in, you're going to start to have to use the data and information that you guys have on your past customer base to bring into the new world. So what that said is this: data and information on your clients is the new gold. Taking all that information about people who have done business with you, have visited your location, have called you, gone to your website, and putting it in either a CRM or an ERP package will give your business the ability to have data-driven information and insight to improve your marketing. I also say that this is the time that you need to start to reevaluate your website. Think about the content and email that you're sending out. Redo the information that you have out there in terms of the tone of today. So it's not focused on you, but it's focused on what you can do for people and why they should consider you now and later on. Having that information in a CRM package, whether it's data, email, financial health of your business, collaboratory information, is going to give you the most effective tool to have a single pane of glass of what's going on in your business. The ability to wake up in a day and see the information and be able to plan your information based on what's happening today, tomorrow, and what do I need to do. So the more information that you have in terms of CRM, ERP, or whatever one you decide to use, as long as you're picking one at this point, I would definitely be happy. It's worth the investment. And if you need someone to have the expertise, that is when you reach out to your technology company and say, which one fits me if I want to do this. If you're a high social media company, it's going to be different than someone who's high inventory. If you're high inventory and high social media, you're going to need something that's a little bit more like an ERP. If you're high services and delivering those things, and to customer delivery, you're going to need something that's going to lead a little bit more in that direction. So with that said, I'm going to open this up for questions and bring Laura back in and start to answer some of the questions that you guys have, so we can kind of deep dive into what's going on or what you guys want to know versus, me, taking stabs into the dark. So do we have any questions in the chat that we would look at?
Yes, we do. Thank you so much, Phil. That was great and a good jump start to our discussion. I'm going to stop the recording.